Good morning. How y'all doing?
Good morning.
I'm here early this morning. Look like y'all already had a good time.
Yes.
Well, like Pastor said, I'm not going to be here long. Just take a few moments of your time. So, Pastor has asked me to come and talk about what I've been doing on the days, nights, and times that I'm not here. Okay. But I will tell you before I start that because of some things that I've learned from Pastor, this is why I went on and did it.
All right, man.
Okay. So the first thing is that he said, come and speak about what you're doing up in Baltimore. So I got about 12 jobs in Baltimore, I'll tell you that, but that's how I feel sometimes. But that's how I feel. But I joined a group about 2 years ago, probably around the same time that we started the church here. And it was called the Man Cave. The Man Cave is a group of men who meet on a Friday night from 6:30 to 8:30. No food, no drink. They show up. 40 men. Okay? Black men, white men. Okay? In a room. Don't cost to get in. Sit and you talk, you listen, and you learn how to be a better man for God. I walked in 2 years ago, looked like a truck had hit me. Sat down, they started talking, I started listening. Realized that guess what? Everybody going through something. Sat next to a man, he just got off a park bench. That's where he slept that night. Sat next to somebody who was going through some problems with their kids. Listened to folks all that time. But here's what I found, is that whenever we come into that room, this is what we do. We bow our head. So if we can do that right now. Short and sweet. God, thank you for having me here this morning. Thank you for Pastor recognizing that I had something to say and then put it on his heart. And God gave him a message, said call him up and ask him to come in and say something. And I'm here this morning just to share what I've been doing and what God has given to me and what God has allowed me to do. And everything that I've realized now that has happened to me over the years, whether it was good or bad, happy or sad, it was because of God's plan for me. I would not be here this morning if it wasn't in his plan. So all I can say is thank you and amen. So the Man Cave itself is a group that's been around for 18 years, meeting in New Saunders Church. They come in. They got problems. These are men, got families, all of that. But what I realized is that, Pastor, like you said, when it started, there was two. And if you've heard Pastor speak a lot of times, he says there is going to be a time when you may not be able to get in here. There's going to be a time where you may not have enough room to park your cars outside. This is how they started, with two people. Mike Perry came in, walked in the room, there were two guys who was listening to him. 18 years later, he kept going. Now he got 40 people coming in every Friday night. So what I learned from that Man Cave and what I've learned from being here is that whatever vision you have, you still got to come to work. I started my business in the basement of my house. I had a $300 weight set. Okay? 5 people showed up, said they would give me some money. They would pay me to train them. I didn't know what I was doing. But I knew that I had a plan. I knew I was going to do something. So every morning I'd get up, I'd go downstairs, open my basement door, people would show up. But 20-some years later, I'm standing in Silver Spring in a church talking to people about what I did. But if you give up on that, guess what? Nobody else will benefit from it. So if you ever quit, the people coming after me are going to lose. So that's what the Man Cave has done for me in Baltimore. Now the thing about that is that once I went in and I started listening and learning, and the thing that you cannot say anymore, I want to share this with you, remember nothing else about my message this morning. Don't say anymore, because we get beat up in class for this. Don't say that something said to me, go do this. Don't say that something said to me, because you only get two voices. This is what I learned. Either God told you or the devil told you. So if you did something wrong, then it was the devil. If you did something right, it was God. And God straightens out whatever the devil makes you do wrong. That's what we learned. So here's the thing about the man cave also. You come in as you are. No judgment. Whatever you got going on in your life, you can share it. We've sat in the man cave, and you may look across the room, a brother starts talking about what's going on. He's crying. He's weeping. But at the end of the night, he's blessed because all of us said, we love you. You got 40 people loving you because you showed up. What I also learned about the man cave is that you can grow. You may not grow in the way that you think, but you grow in learning and what's going on in your life. And what happens in your life. What happened for me, I went in 2 years ago, broken and everything. I then came out, now we got a radio show. Okay? For men. Every Wednesday night at 8:30. 5 brothers sitting in the room. I'm sitting there, I call myself Marvin. Okay? Because all of them can be Matthew, Mark, John, Luke, and all of that. But I'm Marvin, because I'm still learning. I'm the new one. I'm not going to sit there and tell you I know every scripture. I don't tell anybody that. I don't tell everybody, oh, give me a Bible, I'm going to tell you where. No. I got one scripture that applies to me. That's how I feel. And it's the 12th chapter of Genesis. Get out of your comfort zone. Go to a new place and be a blessing to someone else. And be blessed. That's the one I live by. If you ask me anything else about the Bible, I got to go and read it. Tell me what page it's on. I'll read it. But the one that I know that applies to my life, I've gotten out of my comfort zone in life. I'm here because I'm out of my comfort zone right now. I'm sweating because I'm like, look, this may not be me. But guess what? I could have said no and not do it. But then I would have had to tell God, you gave me this talent. You gave me this gift. This is what I do. So when we do our show on Wednesday night, we talk about men's problems. Last week, I usually come up with the topic. Now guess what? The new kid on the block. You got deacons, you got 2 pastors in the room, you got a guy that comes in with 2 Bibles. Okay? He done read through them back and forth. But they look at me and say, well, we need you to pick the topic. Last week's topic was how to be a good husband. I ain't never been married. Let me be clear about that. I've been close. But the thing that happened was that in this room that we find every Wednesday night, that we leave everything at the door, and God comes in, and we talk. We spend anywhere from 45 minutes, sometimes to an hour and a half talking. And when we leave, we find that in one night, there were 1,200 people that tuned in to hear what we had to say. And guess what? We nobody. But you know what I looked up the other day? I usually go on YouTube and I'm listening to stuff. I'm listening to other folks. I looked on YouTube the other day, I got 24 radio shows out there for people to go back and listen to with these guys. I also had to do a show at 7:30 on fitness. I'm just talking about what all of this that has happened is not because of me. I don't look at it like that anymore. The hard times is because God was taking me somewhere. The good times is because this is what you're going to get if you stay on this path. So when I talk about what's going on in Baltimore, it's about me growing. I got 3 jobs right now. I'm not going to tell you. I do. God has said, look, I gave you a truck. You can drive for Uber. Lady called me. She said, I needed help with a business. I go do it. I get up every morning at 5 o'clock and I go open up my gym. I'm going to tell you one last thing, because I know we got to hear the message this morning. I was sitting around a week ago, and I went to the doctors. They said, you know what? You got to do some cardio to get your blood pressure down. Okay? I started looking for a spinning bike, because I knew I would use it. Let me tell you how God worked this out. A guy who we don't agree on nothing, okay? But he'll send me stuff, and I tell him, I said, every time you send me, the 10th one might be good information. Anything else, it don't work. But this is what happened. And I'm going to leave you with this so you'll know to never give up and never judge and never look a gift horse in the mouth.
All right.
But stay in the game as long as you can.
Yeah.
And don't have the faith. I got a call, I got a message from him. He said, there's a guy selling a spinning bike. And I looked up and I said, okay. I called the guy. He said, yeah, I got 9 of them. I said, well, I only need 1. I thought he was 20 minutes away from my house. Guess what? He was up in Belmar, New Jersey. Okay? So then I said, well, let me think about it. He calls me back and says, look, if you want to get them, I'll deliver them. I said, okay. So I called the guy that I don't like. He don't like me, but we don't agree on anything, but we best of friends. So he said, look, man, I'll help you out. You want to go get the bikes? I said, okay. I called the guy back. I said, I want some of the bikes. He said, okay, I got 9 of them. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get these 9 bikes. He calls me back and said, look, I sold 4. He said, but if you want, now, anybody do the math real quick, because I know you in banking. The bikes were $475 when he called. He calls me back and says, look, I got 5 left. You can have the 5 for $1,500 if you meet me halfway on the turnpike. $1,000 for 5 bikes. One bike. One bike. By itself. So the thing was is that God let me wait a little while to get what I needed. I got 5 new bikes in my gym this morning. I went and washed them up and cleaned them up this morning before I came to church. So the thing is that I've learned, not only from here, but from the man cave, is that faith is what you have to hold on to.
Amen.
Because it's part of what you have not seen is what's coming through faith. If you let it go and don't have the faith, then you miss out. So the faith that we have right now is that this church is going to have more people in it if he holds on. At any time that he lets go, if any time I didn't go down to that basement and open up that basement door and didn't believe that I was going to make it, I would not be here today. But I went through 20 years of this business. I paid off my house, paid off both my cars. The gym, I'm coming up on my 2-year anniversary, about to renew the lease. Never missed a payment. It was always on time. My landlord is in Colorado. He gets his money on the 1st. Even if it's a leap year, he's going to have his money on the 1st this year. But it's all about faith, y'all. So what am I learning in Baltimore? What's going on? I got a man cave. 40 men meeting on a Friday night. A radio show on Wednesday night. Talking about what God has done for me and everybody else in the world can do. But the only thing that I've learned is that once I get out of my comfort zone and come out and do something like this, or go on a radio show, or stand around and talk, I had to realize one day my clients are millionaires. I had to look at how much money, they make more money in one day than all of us make in a year, put together. But they pick up the phone and say, can you come to my house for 45 minutes and help me? So Pastor, what I want to share in one of our meetings is that as long as you hold on and have the faith and don't close those doors, whatever vision you have is going to be there. And whatever vision anybody else has, or anything that you want to do, whether it's buying a house, buying a car, raising your kids, sending them off to college, it's all about faith. You don't know how you're going to get there, but guess what? Keep the faith.
Amen.
So that's why when I rode down here this morning, I said, this is about faith. Because guess what? I'm going to tell you a secret. When I told you one time, and y'all know we talked about this, I said, I want to speak in your church. I said, there are about 3 things I want to do in here. One of them I'm prolong, okay? Because I ain't going to be able to hear that sermon, but I'm going to just let you know. But 2, this was 1, to come in here and to be able to speak. He may have thought that I wanted to preach. No, it wasn't about preaching. I just knew I'm a speaker. Your job is secure as a preacher and the leader of the house. But speaking, yeah, I knew I could do that. So that one vision of me standing here doing what I'm doing right now is now done. But I had to go out and prove that I had something to bring back in. And that's what happened this morning. So thank you very much. Praise God and keep the faith.
Let's give him a hand clap. Stay right here for a minute. Stand right here for a minute. I want, if anybody has any questions to ask and how you can get in contact with Brother Reed, I want him to give you his email address and phone number and tune into the radio station that you might want to catch him on there. Because I had the opportunity one day, I had a chance to listen to him. And that's why he didn't know. That's why I told him to come here and do this. I already had viewed this, and saying what you said earlier, and my wife can vouch for you. This church is more than 2 years old. I started this church in 2005 with no family members. They was all friends. We started out with 75 people. And by the transitions of moving around from all the years I've been through, we talk about faith when everybody else couldn't hang on, I held on. I was carrying 2 people with me when I went out preaching. Wasn't nobody but me and those 2 people. And I called myself the 23rd Psalm. Because I believe the Lord is my shepherd. I never gave up. So I appreciate you telling me that, but my faith is there because I never looked at family or nobody, because I'm still like this. I don't care who don't come. I'm going to come in here and preach anyway. The mouse will hear me. I'm going to preach because that's my job. I mean, and if you don't give up on God, God don't give up on you. And that's what I told y'all today about inopportunity. Be consistent. When God gives you something, it ain't all what it look like. All ministry ain't dramatic. You know, you got to do what God tells you to do. And he says something that I want everybody to understand. I said it a lot of times. It's 2 voices you hear. The first voice is God, is always the right voice. The devil will come around and tell you, no, make that left turn. You're supposed to go right all the time. I've told y'all this over and over. I went out this parking lot one time, my wife was with me. I said, honey, I'm going to duck this traffic, go this way and go down today. The Lord said, let's sit here for a minute and make a right. I know I'm going left. Went left, went up there, the worst accident in the world was up there. I had to stay up there 40 more minutes than what I would have been down the road and at home. So that's when I learned, I said, see, John, you know this stuff. Don't be hard-headed and never not listen to what God tells you, because he knows best. Brother Reed did some important things here, and I wanted to let you all know. Yeah, we set the church apart in 2018. The reason why I did this, because I had a friend of mine, Pastor Gilbert, that set us apart. He bugged me for almost 17 years. Johnson, when you going to set that mission apart? You've been a mission a long time, man. You got more people in your church than in the mission than them people got in their church. You go down there and see them people ain't got but 10 folk, and they've been like that for 40 years. And I said, I thought about that, but I never do nothing until God tells me to do. That's what you got to do. You can't do what you want to do. But like I tell people, it's not about your name outside. It's not about any of that stuff. But the church belongs to God. If anything happened to me today or tomorrow, 23rd song, I pray that it continues to go on. And don't sit back and say, because the church is always organized by somebody else. But every church somebody else started. God gave me the ammunition to start a church. And that's a whole lot of work that people don't know about. It's not easy. First of all, I'm not Bloomberg. You know, a church, you got to have money. Then you got to have people there. But look what God did for me. Because I never gave up. All those years, I constantly kept on in, and people laugh and say, oh, where he at? Where's building that? I heard him say he got a church. I ain't never seen it. But who did get disturbed? Not me. I laughed. I was preaching every Sunday, having a good time with the little 4 or 5 people I had or whatever was there. Never stopped. But like he told you, this church going to grow larger than what you think. But the ones that used to be with me, they're on their way back. And the reason is because they had joined other churches with any other positions. And I told them when that opportunity come for them to lead a position, come back. Don't never leave a church. Let the position come open. And you can leave and make it available to come back where you want to come. But I don't want nobody to walk away from ministry to come to me, because it ain't about me. So, Brother Tony, we thank you so much for that enlightening information. What you have told us, we know what you're doing is a great, great work, and I appreciate you understanding that it started here for you. And after that, you went on out. And that's what I want everybody to do, because membership turns to discipleship. You're supposed to be able to do something for God. There's nothing more than a pastor hate to see somebody come out of his church and don't do nothing for God. That make you feel like you ain't never did nothing. Like a school teacher said, all the students I had, all of them went to jail. And you be like, Lord, I must didn't teach them nothing. You feel bad. Cause you be like, all of them went to jail, what did I teach them when they left here? You feel bad, cause you feel like you hadn't done what you supposed to do. Come on, Brother Tony, get them your information, so they can have it. Give me,
Okay, for the radio show, it's on Worldwide Flavor Network.
let them write that down, be
Okay.
slow with it.
Okay.
All right.
And this video will be on YouTube tonight, so in case you
Okay.
want to go back and view it too. So it's Worldwide Flavor Network, FLAVA,
That's F-L-A-V-A.
Flavor Network. Yeah, and the show is on Wednesday nights, the fitness show at 7:30 and the Man Cave show at 8:30. And you can go on YouTube, you can go on Mixcloud, you can go on Facebook and view them at any time that you want. They're out there for the world to see now. Like I said, I have 24 of them that I've already completed. I have about 8 that I've completed with Man Cave so far, because they started, a couple of them I had to convince them to do, step out of that room, come out and do it. So that's there. If you need to talk to me about fitness, my phone number is 443-831-1294. My website is TonyReedFitnessManagement.com. And if you're in the Baltimore area, the website will have the address, but if you're in the Baltimore area, I'm located at 3 Greenwood Place in Pikesville, Maryland. Suite 106. And this week, we're gonna be adding spinning classes, so that is requiring the bikes. So I'll let you know. Any questions? Good? All right.
Let's give them a hand clap.
Brandon, thanks.